He's such a woofy boy. Oh no. All right, everybody. So, if you haven't guessed what we're doing this time around, we're doing bad wrestling intros, as well as other bad stuff involving wrestling.
Oh, that's what we're doing? I thought we were just making fun of me.
That's just the added benefit.
As always, we have Doc, we have Louie, and we have Wolf. So, let's see. Doc, what is your least favorite intro? I say this knowing that,
Shawn Michaels' intro. The music is just so dated. If you think about everybody who's ever wrestled, past to now, everybody's music's changed to be current. Like the NWO music, of course, it's always going to be NWO music. It's not going to change. Mm-hmm. But they did have the offshoot of the Wolfpack.
One of the best themes.
Yeah. Sting did get his music changed. Hunter, Triple H got his music changed to, and of course it's timeless now that Lemmy's the one that did it. So, but Shawn Michaels, sings his own intro. The intros, he sings it sadly enough.
I didn't know that.
Horrible song, horrible singing. And it's just, when you're 20-something, okay, maybe you can get away with calling yourself a sexy boy and somebody's boy toy. But now you're 50-something and you still come up with the same intro. You lost all your hair. You need to kind of slap that lazy eye and get it back to work. But it's horrible. And I'm just talking about musically. I'm glad he stopped wearing the little chaps with the hearts on it because that was pretty embarrassing too.
Yeah, we're just talking about intros here. It seems like there's just a personal attack now.
It's not a personal attack. It's Wolf, would you not agree that the way it looks now is just horrible?
Yeah. Look, I like Shawn Michaels. I've just never liked his intro.
No, I get you.
Thank you.
I will say probably his best ever intro was the one time, I can't remember if it was SummerSlam or WrestleMania, but when he wore his fucking chaps or whatever and they got caught into the ramp and he couldn't take them off and he couldn't get up. So he had to take them off right then and walk to the ring. That was probably his best intro ever.
I can't say I remember that one.
Yep. It's the funniest shit ever because of course I think it was after his Born Again stage. So he got down on his knees, did the kind of praying thing, and then he tries to get up and he can't because again he's dressed like he should be in San Francisco.
Realistically, it's just it was terrible all around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in the 80s, you could get away with a lot of terrible things because
it's the 80s.
Well, no, it's the 80s and it was WWF and their gimmicks were horrible. Not that they've gotten much better thanks to creative, but
there was a peak and then a decline. So
No, I agree. It's just you're talking about what you remember the 90s. I'm talking about the 80s where everybody had a
car mechanic was.
Yeah, you had El Matador, I forgot what his name was, Tito something. Anyways, but he was the only Hispanic wrestler that WWF had at the time.
Tito Santana?
Yeah, Tito Santana. And he was El Matador. Oh, yeah. He had a little Matador outfit and everything. And he did those little promos and it was like, Olay. And I was like, really? That's right up there with, my hatred for the Super Friends. But it was pretty bad. Everybody was that way. Kerry Von Erich was the Texas Tornado.
Yeah.
Everybody had a nickname for themselves. And, Shawn Michaels was, I forgot what it was.
The Heartbreak Kid, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Heartbreak Kid.
Yeah.
Which, when it came to names, that wasn't horrible. But it was just, it didn't age well.
Yeah. It didn't age well, but again, it was kind of like the same thing, where Triple H was Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and then it just became Triple H. Heartbreak Kid just got shortened to HBK. Like
Yeah.
it was one of those things where it's like, we all know what it stands for, but we're not going to call you that.
Yeah. So, Wolf, what was, in your opinion, the worst intro?
We got a lot of them.
Yes. We've had time.
Yeah.
I would say probably by far my least favorite intro is, if anybody remembers, Lord Tensai,
Yes.
Prince Albert,
Prince Albert.
A-Train, for those of you who remember. Literally, he I can't remember if he went to Japan and like spent years in Japan wrestling or what, but I know he did it. He did the road, he did the tours, stuff like that, and then he came back to WWE, and they decided a guy that looks as distinct as he does to repackage this pasty white man as an Asian guy
With tattoos on his face, you know.
with like removable kanji tattooed on his face.
Gotcha.
But if you think about it, that was not the first time
That they've done that.
Because if you remember,
One Man Gang.
One Man Gang, but there was Fatu. Remember?
Oh yeah, Fatu
was Rikishi. They repackaged him originally as the Sultan, and you're like, but he's Hawaiian or he's Samoan, and you have him as the Sultan, and he had this outfit, and I'm like, nobody knows who this mysterious man is. Yes, it's Rikishi.
Like the funniest thing is like when he debuted, like his music was bland, his entrance was bland. He comes out and kind of like, I would say it's a mix between like a kimono and kind of like samurai-ish garb, like because he's got like. It's got some aspects that's supposed to be like kind of armor, but then it kind of has more of like dress aspect to it. I'm just like, I have no idea what the fuck you're doing. But like, it's just bland. He just walks to the ring and he takes it off, and it's like his headpiece. You remember Shredder from the live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? It was almost like they took that directly from it.
Gotcha.
But
I will say on the plus side, they made him shave his body hair.
That is true. But also, when he took off his thing, everybody immediately just started chanting Albert.
Yep.
Everybody knew who he was.
See, the thing is, I remember Prince Albert, but when he started off with, what is it, Prince Tensei?
Lord Tensai.
Lord Tensei, I was like, I have no idea. But I remember Prince Albert, you know?
Yeah, with the Test TNA.
Yeah.
But like, ironically now, like he's still with WWE, but he's on the developmental side. So that is a good story. At least he's still.
This is his job.
Yeah, but whoo! You talking about the fans taking a piss out of that gimmick quick.
I mean, and let's be fair, WCW had a whole crap ton of them too.
Yeah, because we talked about it. 7.
Horrible gimmick. I think it lasted. I don't know how many vignettes they did.
I think they did 3, and I think that was like over 3-4 months.
And then they did the one intro where he floated over everybody. I'm surprised they got that right. I thought he was going to be spinning around for a while, but he floated over everybody. I mean, literally, they had him on the wires. And you know how the Undertaker? There's times where he's
There's also they also had fog filling up the ramp.
Yeah. Because you know how sometimes you've seen the Undertaker, like literally he's standing on the ramp, and it has that ramp that moves so it doesn't look like he's walking.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's something that they try to go for, but they try to go for him like he's levitating over there.
Because like I think I remember seeing those, like even if it was like on a Raw or something, like there was something about the venue where it allowed them to change the ramp. This was still the old WCW ramp down floor, and then just like I think I remember it too because he comes to the stage and he's standing there, and then he kind of does like the little Undertaker hand wavies. And then he floats up and then starts floating down, and we're just like, we see the wires.
Yeah. I mean, the suspension of disbelief was horrible.
Yeah.
You know.
And then he immediately rips that gimmick to shreds.
Yes. I mean, anybody has a chance, look it up on YouTube. I mean, he literally, and then of course what made it worse.
I think it was like a 15-minute long rant.
Yep.
Jesus.
Because they had, WCW had fired Dusty Rhodes, which is his father. And like, he had helped build WCW.
Yeah, like with Jim Crockett and like even when he was bought out, all that, like Dusty was the mainstay there.
Huh.
So, I mean, that's, and on top of that, it's Dustin. Dustin's never looked like, I mean, what they were trying to go for is somebody to rival The Undertaker. That was a big fail.
Yeah.
The only thing that I could say that was remotely cool was the hat. But it looked like
the hat and cloak was cool, but it was literally a gigantic latex mask that made him look like Uncle Fester.
Yes. And even he said that on air. Like, you see what they got me doing? I look like Uncle Fester.
Like the funniest thing is because the crowd is like booing at him at first because they're just like, get this shit off, and then he name drops his dad, Dusty, and everybody's like, yeah.
He's like, I would boo me too.
It's like he turned the crowd 180. It was like, holy shit.
And then of course the other one we're talking about was Glacier.
Yeah,
they did invest a lot of money into that, but it was terrible.
Yeah, that's my vote for the most horrible. Just concept and intro, just because. Like,
well, no, the intro. Don't get me wrong. The intro was really, really cool. Like the little snow falling, and that was cool. It was just the implementation was horrible. The character was horrible.
It just didn't fit into the whole wrestling aspect.
No, it didn't.
Louis, did you see Sting's return to wrestling? So if you look up YouTube and you put Sting AEW debut, literally the glacier snow falling and stuff like that, it is I wouldn't say it's beat for beat, but it's almost the idea of Glacier's intro with Sting, and it is done 10 times better. I'm not saying that just because it's Sting, but I'm saying it because they actually took the time to make it work.
Whereas, like, yeah, with his gimmick, Sting that's his gimmick. But the video montage they play for is a lot of, crows and shit like
crows, and then it's like I think they even do something kind of like Game of Thrones, where winter's coming or winter's here or something like that. And then like the snow starts falling, and then you don't see any scorpions. You don't see anything like that. Of course, there's the crow, and everybody's like, "Oh, is it Sting?" And everybody's kind of got the things. But then Sting walks out, and then,
in other words, a good way to do it. Versus, like I said, it wasn't that it was a bad idea, bad concept. It's just that everybody knew you were piggybacking off of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
which is a movie. You're not built for that. You're asking, suspension of disbelief is one thing. At the time, the way wrestling was going was more reality-based. So why would you sit there and have us try to believe, hey, this is Sub-Zero?
Yeah.
It was just...
like, it would have worked slightly better had they been like, hey, this guy saw the Mortal Kombat movie, got hit in the head, and thinks he's the character. That would have worked slightly better, because they were like, okay, he's just crazy.
Oh, remember Eugene?
Yeah, Eugene.
Speaking
of bad WCW, though.
No, that was WWE.
Oh, no, I'm talking about, like, back to Glacier. The Kiss Demon.
Yes. And actually, he was back, too.
Yeah. Like, so, Del Torba, I think it was? He was a wrestler. But, since Eric Bischoff is a huge Kiss fan, he got Kiss to play a live concert, or at least, like, a couple songs on one of the Nitro editions. And in agreement for that, Kiss wanted a wrestler that had to be featured in main events and prominently featured on the TV. So a lot of if everybody remembers back at that time, like late 98 to like 2000, where there was a bunch of those special main events, that was their way of getting around the main event with the Kiss Demon.
Gotcha.
Terrible. He was the same kind of concept as the Yeti when he was debuted at the very end of an episode. He came out of like almost like an Iron Maiden type thing. It opened, you see something, and then it cuts to black.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Which, one of the things that you guys kind of reminded me of just now, like, and I don't know how you kind of, I think it's when you said Goldberg. Whatever happened to Gold Dust?
So...
He became 7 in WCW.
Yeah,
is that what it is?
Yeah, because like 7 was after Goldust, but when he went back to WWE, he was Goldust for a bit, and then he had that weird, almost like that Prince angle where he was like formerly Goldust or some shit like that.
The wrestler formerly known as Goldust.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. It was weird.
Yeah, and then he asked for his release to go join his brother in AEW.
Well, he went to TNA like when he was going through all that personal shit, the drugs and stuff.
But before AEW, he was still in WWE, and they granted him his release to.
Yeah, because I think didn't he come back, and then they kind of pushed Cody to the Stardust gimmick.
Yeah,
which Cody didn't mind, but he felt it was beneath him.
Well, he didn't mind it, but eventually he thought they would let him get past it. But because people, especially all the little kids, were cheering it, they were never going to let him out of that.
To which then he went for AEW, then Dustin followed him.
He went to New Japan.
Then they had that fucking insane ass match between the both of them.
Who is the real Goldust?
I wish it was that. You remember Gilbert?
No.
Yes. He was in...
was the... I can't remember. Was that when Chris Jericho came to WWE, or was it somebody else?
No.
I'm just imagining like a cross between
Gilbert
and Goldberg.
Gilbert, everybody knows that Jericho's like a big guy that does... So, when Goldberg was really big, one time Chris Jericho was out in the ring in WCW cutting a promo, and then all of a sudden... the Goldberg music starts playing out. So here comes this old guy coming out, and he does like the whole Goldberg thing.
Like do the pose, no muscle definition, no muscles at all.
He comes out here, and from what I heard, Goldberg was like really pissed off at Chris Jericho because they hurt his character and this. And I'm like, dude, it's a character, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand if it was, you thought they were talking about your mama, but I mean, But yeah.
Like, Mama Goldberg, and she's like, I'm gonna need this dough.
Like, look, they already had Judy Bagwell, all right? They could have afforded another.
But, yeah. Now, I was remembering this character. I forgot who the wrestler's name was. He played a special needs wrestler named Eugene.
Nick... begins with a D. Can't remember, though.
Yeah. So apparently this guy was, I don't know if almost autistic's the right thing or...
Because if I remember, like, I want to say that when the idea was pitched, it was supposed to be kind of a wrestling savant. Like,
he's a wrestling savant.
He's not, like, I wouldn't say not special needs or stuff like that, but, like, he's not necessarily...
They inferred it. I'll say like that.
Well, like, the gimmick they put on TV was far worse than what it was pitched. Because, like, it was supposed to be, like, he's kind of not there all, but, like, he has this great wrestling gift. Gotcha. But then on TV, they play him as...
special needs. Because even when they put his name on there, the E was backwards.
Like
it was...
It's like Timmy or Jimmy make it to WWE. That's how... That's the level we're talking about.
Like, to the point where, like, he was a wrestling savant that could literally copy anybody's style.
Interesting.
And it was like, okay, maybe it wasn't, but like his jacket was always buttoned up, all jacked up. Eugene was spelled with a backwards E in the intro.
Had this childlike wonderment.
And I'm like, no, that's you're not offending anybody.
Yeah.
Like the fan base got behind him at the start, but then when they started playing up he's the special needs person, that's when the crowd turned on him and it was just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a rough look.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a funny thing that you're like the stuff that, like, I guess every wrestling promotion got away with, what you couldn't do now. Can you imagine that shit now?
Remember the Dicks? Chuck Palumbo and, was it Billy Gunn?
I don't remember that.
But
I remember Chuck Palumbo, but I don't remember the other one.
But it was like, I think it was, they were on SmackDown, I think on the first brand split. But there were two male wrestlers, and they were supposed to be like these, like... basically, it was always implied that they were gay. And then they did this whole thing, like, where it was like, oh, they're going to have a gay wedding on TV. And then they swerved them at the last minute. It was like, no, we're not gay. We have no problem with gay people. But, like, it got WWE in trouble with, like, several organizations because, like, they had partnered with them thinking, like, they were actually going to do something nice. And it was just, it was just a swerve, and it got them in trouble. It was just like, whew! I can't remember. I know it was Chuck Palumbo, but I just can't remember the other guy. But like, they had bleach blonde hair. They would like take each other's like workout clothes off when they get to the ring. Mm-hmm. I would say there was implied. It was implied, but there was no implication. It was like, hey, look,
yeah. So we're going way off the mark on this one. So
worst intros, gotcha.
I mean,
we should probably cut it there with that little, that little bombshell there. So, as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Punch that notification bell.
Don't forget the dicks.